I'm an American citizen by every. I can't define myself as anything other.
But the federal government says that man, Larry Aguilar, is not a citizen. They sent him a letter warning him he's on the deportation list. If Aguilar seems familiar, it's because he campaigned to run for the state legislature a couple of years ago. He came here to the U.S. as a child with his family as a Cuban refugee, and his parents eventually became naturalized citizens, but they didn't do the paperwork for their children. So now Aguilar is in limbo, and he's not alone. His attorney says there are hundreds of thousands of people in this same boat. Foreigner Corner's Warren Wright standing by to explain. War?
Well, Larry Aguilar was part of the Freedom to Flight program when America opened its doors to Cuban refugees in 1966. He was granted a Social Security number on his third day of living in America. But now his whole identity is in jeopardy.
It's a serious matter.
And Larry Aguilar is serious about his love for America.
I will protect this country the same way that you would.
In fact, wanting to be a public service, he even ran for office a few years ago. But recently, he got this letter in the mail telling him he's now on the list for deportation. His attorney says that's despite the fact that he had government jobs.
Do you have a Social Security number?
Totally, from day one.
He worked for the federal government. He also worked for a federal judge for a while. And it wasn't until a private employer ran him through E-Verify that we realized there was a paperwork problem.
After all these years, Aguilar found out his parents didn't file the proper paperwork for him when he was a kid. And he's not alone.
I think hundreds of thousands of people are in this position.
I got my hand on the numbers. Close to 750,000 people file for naturalization every year. But only 23,000 applications for children are typically filed. That bottom number is suspiciously low.
Should be more about 100,000 based on the number of families with children in the household.
In other words, just like in Larry's family so many years ago, the parents are taking care of their paperwork, but not their kids.
And just the numbers alone show that that's not happening even today.
Richie estimates nearly 70,000 children a year are not getting the right paperwork filed. And they could grow up thinking they've got legal status, just like Larry thought he did after his dad became a citizen.
Did you always think that you were an American citizen?
Oh, totally. When he became an American citizen, that was a big deal. And I remember him telling my brother and I, he's 11 months older than me, that we were now Americans.
Okay, well, Aguilar says despite better relations with America, Cuba still wouldn't even take him back because he and his family left as political refugees and are therefore considered criminals to the communist regime. Warren Wright, Fox 4, in your corner.
All right, thank you.